We have only 35 chambers. There is no 36.
I know that. But I want to create a new chamber.
And what would that be?
I think Shaolin techniques should be available to all. So then, that's my idea for a new chamber. To teach the martial arts to the people. Anybody.
All right, y'all, welcome back to another episode of My 3 Cents. So, and in the social media lately, there's been a lot of talk about the Purge, all kind of stuff going on with the laws changing in places like Chicago. So what I'm gonna do today is break down what that's about, and I'm gonna give you a clear path to understand the laws that's changing and what it does actually mean. All right, so don't believe the hype. Get your information up, and so let's get it. Repeat listeners, thank you. I appreciate you coming back. First time listeners, welcome to the podcast. My 3 Cents, where you come to listen to a man just basically speak his truth. All right, no judgment. If you want to judge me, that's on you. So like I said, we're gonna go into the purge knowledge, right? This is what everybody's talking about, but not many people are gonna break it down so that you actually have the knowledge of what this is about. So some of you have heard of this, and let me take these headphones off. And I know a lot of you probably haven't heard of this. And what it is called the cash bail system, okay? So what you see happening is a series of events that all go together. And this is why I say pay attention, because there's a lot going on at the same time that you're not going to be able to piece together as knowledge, okay? So a large part of the gun reform, now this is my 3 cents, right? So a large part of the gun reform, the crime spikes, a lot of the different things going on is going to be also based on this, all right? So what they're calling the purge and what they're scared is going to start happening is because of what's called the cash bail system. And what they're doing now is called cash bail system reform. They've been doing this for a very long time. So if you look up the knowledge on cash bail system reform, you'll understand that this has been going on. So what I kind of want to entitle this episode is two sides to every coin, because you have to understand the technology that they have put on top of the cash bail system reform. You see, because the purge that everybody's scared of is actually being perpetuated by our people. What do I mean by our people? I'm talking about black people mostly, right? Melanated people. They are pushing this because it has something to do with feeling underserved and all the other terms that they put on melanated people. Once you accept those roles, you have to think like that and you have to proceed like that. And when you plan for the future, you kind of plan out of that mind frame of lack and underserved and we never get and we never have. So they want you dealing from that type of place off top, okay? Never forget that. So one of the first things I saw was that some time ago, California tried to pass a bill called Prop 25, right? So if you look up Prop 25, what they wanted to do was replace cash bail with algorithmic knowledge. Now, what is cash bail, first of all? Cash bail is when somebody gets arrested. They say, there's a bail, you can bond out tonight. You call your buddies, nobody got the money. What happens next? You gotta sit in jail. Now, you sit in jail until one of two things happen. Somebody comes up with the bond or your court date arrives. So one of two things happen. And in the court date, you have to plead. If you don't plead, you go back to jail. If you plead, something happens one way or the other, right? So watch the trickery and watch the master trickery that is placed in and throughout these systems. Pay attention, because the black boy and the black man is the one who is suffering the most from his lack of knowledge of understanding how these systems work and how you constantly keep getting tricked into volunteering yourself into these systems. Okay? So cash bail is just that. It's people that can pay cash And so what happens is people feel like that's not fair, right? They feel like that's not fair if a wealthy person commits a crime and don't have to sit in jail at all. So this is the base of that argument. I'm going to simplify it down to that for now. Okay, so what happens is they want to replace the cash bail. They say no cash bail, right? Forget it. And to replace cash bail, instead of making you wait, go to court, wasting time and money, what they're saying, so this is supposed to be a positive thing to get rid of cash bail. Then they say, then we'll have an algorithm, a computer generated algorithm that will decide whether this person seems like they will show up for court or not, all based upon things you have done in the past and based upon other things on your record, your lifestyle, your zip code. It's all kind of things involved. This is an algorithm. Okay, so it's an algorithm. It's a program that can aggregate the chances of a person coming back before for trial or trying to flee the situation. That's it. So you got people saying, yes, get rid of cash bail, and let's have a system where it's chosen on some fair, even playing field basis, which they feel like the algorithm is. But I'm going to show you why the algorithm is not an even, fair playing field or any of that. This is all master trickery, okay? So, obviously, who makes money off of people needing bond? Bail bondsmen, right? So when people jump bail, right, when they let you out, and then you didn't pay a certain percent down on the money, and then you did not return to go to court for final judgment, which will encapsulate the rest of the money that they're going to put on you, the charges. This is all just about money, right? So if you jump ship before court, who do they send after you? Bail bondsmen. Okay, so bail bondsmen are the ones who have a lot vested in you running and just having something attached to you so that you can't run. Okay, so this is a lot of people's money involved, livelihoods. You got people that do this. You've all seen, Dog the Bounty Hunter and all this type of stuff. Okay, this stuff blows up because of this reason. These guys are hunting you down for the fictitious money that they're saying you owe them, and it's not even you the person, it's the fictitious entity playing you that you seem to keep wanting to be responsible for. Remember, the fake you has all capital letters. That's not how you spell your name. And even though you're not your name, even furthermore, you're not the all caps version. That's another step away from who you are. Understand that. Look into that if you don't understand that. So the bail bondsmen oppose Prop 25 because that's pretty much how they get paid, right? So cash bail, this is what they say about it. The ones who want to abolish it and get the algorithm. And remember, this is what melanated people, lower income people, this is what they all want because they're saying it's not fair, okay? So cash bail, they're saying that it's classist. They're saying that it's racist. They're saying it's unfair. They're saying that rich people get to go free and poor people don't. They got to go sit in jail, okay? So what you got to understand about that argument is that they're also telling you that statistically, those that spend short amount of time in jail like that are statistically higher. They have a higher chance of going back to jail. So again, lower income and melanated people, this is what they're saying. They're saying that's not fair to us. Y'all gotta understand the trickery behind what they're getting you to fight for. Because to fight for this, you have to admit that you're always the one in the position being locked up and going through jail stuff. Instead of educating our people, we keep trying to find ways to ease the fall, and we continue to fall in society. Happily, long as it's cushioned, right? So they're saying it's classist, racist, and all that. Now, what are the bail bondsmen saying? They're saying that if you reform cash bail, if you take this away, then guess what? People are gonna run there's going to be more crime, and there's not going to be anybody to do anything about it. Now, they're also saying that algorithms should not be allowed to determine who goes to jail and who gets to go home. So you actually have bail bondsmen fighting for your personal rights and freedoms, even though on the flip side, they're the ones hunting you down for the fictitious money. And then you have the ones who say they're trying to help you, fighting for you to have a chance to go in and out of jail as a repeat offender of lesser crimes that are not more dangerous, more serious crimes. So there's a guy named J.B. Pritzker. He's the governor of Illinois, right? Chicago. And so what he did back in 2021 was sign the bill that's going to go into effect in 2023, but people are just now talking about it. The mainstream just now is trying to alert you to it so that you have a small amount of time to be upset about it before January. It's already been granted permission. Okay? So he signed what they call a sweeping criminal justice reform bill. Now, when they say sweeping, that means that it's going to be things involved in it that you need to look into it before you start backing it. Because that means it's going to be some things in it that somebody's going to find questionable. That's why it's a sweeping document. It's just wanting to kind of umbrella a few other things that might not seem to be related off first glance, and they need to be explained. Okay, so that's kind of what that means. Like I said, the study showed that short-term incarceration, and so this is also what he was pushing, right? Pritzker was pushing this when he signed the bill. He was saying we need to end cash bail for release from jail for actual true fairness, okay? So he says, studies show that short-term incarceration leads to reincarceration over and over. And then they want to say short-term jailing affects a person in a number of ways. Now, this is true. This can be true and false at the same time. Okay, just like everything else, this is quantum. So they say short-term jailing can cause you to lose your job, lose money, lose babysitter, get your kids taken away when you done got arrested for something at the wrong time and couldn't bail out, even though the thing was probably petty and minor. Remember, because they're saying that the most people that sit in jail in this country are sitting in there for bonds that are under $2,000. Okay? So it's being looked at as them preying upon the less fortunate. This is a lot to take in, I know. When they're saying all that can happen, that's totally true, because I myself was once falsely arrested, mistaken to be someone else. And when all this came out, I mean, they had did an investigation. They had to give me all the paperwork. They had pictures of my car in the parking lot where I lived. They did a whole investigation on me, randomly pulled me over one day, said that there was a warrant, and arrested me. I'm telling the whole time, look, this can't be right. I gotta work tomorrow. I'm a manager. So, I'm calling work to tell them what happened, and guess what? All they can do is believe me or not. So this is one of those situations that if my woman at the time couldn't get me out, which she did, but if she couldn't, this is one of those situations where if you don't have people that believe in you, you could lose your job instantly because nobody got time to deal with that, right? So this stuff is true. It can easily happen where being in jail for the wrong reason at the wrong time, a mistake, it doesn't matter. It can cost you a lot. Now, as far as that costing you to be a repeat offender, I don't really understand the knowledge on that because, again, unless you're an actual criminal, then how would being falsely arrested cause you to continue to be arrested. So that kind of don't make sense. They're sneaking that in, right? So they want to throw that on top of the melanated people as well, the low-income people, and say, man, look, they get arrested a lot. Make it easy on them. Don't make them have to come up with cash to get out. Now, here's the argument. The argument is that obviously money is making the decision of who is jailed and who is released, okay? That's the base argument. Now, the numbers. 480,000 people per year sit in jail. 480,000 people per year sit in the local jails. Okay? Now, remember, unconvicted. Only arrested, sitting, waiting for trial. Not even trial, but to see the judge for their first appearance. So this is why they say it just comes down to time and money. So again, the more Democratic melanated side is saying, let's do away with this. It's not fair to brown people. Don't y'all see how that don't feel right? That they want to change the money jailing laws and try to blame it on us? Because I'm about to tell you the flip side to this. So in saying that this is down to time and money, right? People are just sitting mainly because they can't afford bail. This makes the argument that too many people sit in jail because they're poor. Okay? So then they want to tell you that the average number of days that somebody sits in jail before trial is actually, what they call pre-trial is 28 days. 28 days is the average time that they sit waiting to be seen. Now, these is because the systems are backed up. So they're also saying that, look, these systems are backed up. We need to not make people wait like this. And the community is like, yeah, that's a smarter use of our money. But what y'all not realizing is that this also means that those who keep doing little crimes are going to be in and out to go do more stuff if they so want to. That's what y'all not realizing. So this is why people are talking all this purge talk. Let me tell you where this comes in at. So with this, not to mention it does add to the guilty pleas, the amount of guilty pleas we're seeing from our community, from the black boys, from the black men. Guilty. They're saying anything they got to say. They're getting two choices, guilty and no contest. And remember, these are small crimes. So either way, it's going to either be a fine or a bigger fine or, monetary. It's going to be something like that that's could have been handled through the mail. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they're saying about not wasting the court's time. They want to make it easier on them so that when they do get you, they're going to say, no, we got you in this new system and it's bulletproof. Not the old system where we let you go for something small. If we keep you, we're going to treat it like something big. You see, you got to understand the kind of ideas they can start ushering in very easily. Okay, so this is going to go into what I call the dark side of this, right? So you got people sitting in there 28 days. Bail is less than $2,000. This is the average. And again, I said 480,000 people a year. So that's a lot of money. 480,000 people with these bails under $2,000 sitting in there for a day at a time, days. That's restitution. That's all kind of taxes and all kind of stuff added to the situation. Okay, people saying it's because they're poor. Okay, we got that. Now, again, this is how it works to give you that simple overview. A crime is committed. Now, what's next? Let's go the route of no money. So a crime is committed. You have no money to post bond. You go to jail. You wait for trial. Then everything else is put on record in totality. Now let's go the other route. A crime is committed. You have money. You don't go to jail. You go home. You go to trial. Whatever happens in trial is what happens. But guess what? You don't have a record. The other guy who didn't have money, he now has a record. You see how that works? So this is one of the other main reasons they're saying it's not fair, because now it looks cliche. This young black kid has a record because y'all thought he was suspicious and he messed around and had a little weed on him. And one thing led to another. He did go to jail. It is on his record. I mean, this is how easy they can have you looking bad on paper. And so this is also why I'm saying the same ones that saying get rid of that system because it's not fair are the same ones that saying let an algorithm take over. And what you're not realizing about that is that an algorithm cannot depict human characteristics and things. It cannot understand your situation. It is the computer. It's going to say, well, you got charges from when you were a juvenile. You seem like somebody who might run. It even says you ran in the past. So it is nothing but pure judgment on the past. Because remember, they want to tell you that computers can't learn, but then they want to put a computer in charge of your freedom. These algorithms that obviously learn. That's why you get ads that are specific to you. That's why you get on your smart TVs commercials that are specific to what you talk about and watch. Okay? They keep feeding you yourself. You keep consuming yourself through all these different devices and vices. So it's a sick game being played. And this is why people are talking about the purge, because people are going to be revolving in and out of the jails, and they wanted you to know it's been done in other cities. Okay, first of all, it's been done in other cities. But the places that remove the cash bail system, right? The places that remove that and try to redo the system, like what's about to happen in Chicago, because this has been done many times over already. What happens is they say that they save money. That's the other part of the win-win, because the actual legal system is saving money through less trial, seeing less people, less man hours, all that. Okay? So they're winning. Okay? They say it's still a high number of people returning to the court. So we didn't lose that with getting rid of the cash bail. Okay? So they feel like they're winning. Right? They say it's a win-win. But like I said, the dark side of the algorithm is that it can't take into account real life factors that are actually more than just numbers. Think about the movie Minority Report. If you haven't seen Minority Report, you need to watch that. Because the knowledge of this movie is exactly what's happening right now. Where they had 3 psychics hooked up to some type of machine in water, predicting crimes, right? Precogs or something, right? And these were pre-crimes. And they would go and arrest the people before they committed the crime, because the algorithm told them that this person was moving in all the ways consistent with committing a certain type of crime. So you got to think about what they are actually doing, and the reason they show you these movies when they do and how they do. Now, if you go back to when Minority Report came out, maybe you want to look at what year it came out. Maybe you might figure out the year gap of between introducing you to something and it actually showing up. Who knows? Right? So this is the dark side of the algorithm for me, is that it's just technology. And another thing is that we're concerned about the features of the people that they're going to judge with the algorithm, their economic status, their race, where they live, their neighborhood. Don't you realize all these things will be learned in by the algorithm? Because the algorithm will figure out the same thing that man figured out. Certain areas, certain zip code, certain color people. All it's going to do is be a racist computer. And they're going to be able to say, hey, the algorithm said. The algorithm said. Well, guess what, guys? Who wrote the code for the algorithm? Did the algorithm write itself? All right. So, like I said, in all the neighborhoods, all the cities where they have done this already, crime goes up. And these are all Democratic states. So you got to understand that with election coming up, why would they start announcing this now for another Democratic state like Chicago, that this is about to happen? To me, it's counterproductive to the good news or the boost that they might want. But again, all energy is energy, good or bad, no such thing. That's dualistic. So you got places like New Jersey, Washington, California, now Chicago, Ohio. You got lots of places where they have already been doing this, implementing this, and these are all places where the crime is very high. The crime rates are high. So here's the part where it gets really messed up for Chicago. They're doing something that, through all the research, you cannot find has been done in these other cities. Now, remember when I told you that these are lesser crimes? These are crimes that you might have knocked somebody in the head. They're going to say, all right, go back out there and knock another head. They're not going to keep you for that. They're not going to charge you cash for that. You'll be able to go right back out in the streets. Right? So now, what they have done for Chicago, starting in 2023, is that they have changed the range and definition of what seems to be minor and not require them to interfere or even detain the person past arresting them and logging the information and letting them go. I'm going to tell you 3 of the things that they put on the list that will be included in the no cash bond reform. Robbery. They will no longer require bond for robbery. In and out. Kidnapping. They will no longer require bond for kidnapping. In and out. Second degree murder. Yeah. They will no longer require a bond for second degree murder. This can be considered not bondable and you can go. So this is why people are getting kind of shook. And they're saying, what is going on with these laws? Now, as bad as that is, what you got to understand is when you got these groups out here like BLM, you got these corporations giving them millions and millions of dollars. You don't see nothing changing around the world in our situation. And you got these corporations blindly supporting the notions of what these people are asking for all of us. This is why when we go to individually ask, we can't get nothing half the time. They feel like they already gave it. Where'd that go? So this ain't helping us. It's a bad look that we're fighting for it. What they also don't realize is that stop trying to speak up for us and say, get rid of that because it's racist against black people, minorities, or whoever. Don't do that. Because you're creating more crime in the communities that you think you're helping. Again, you're creating more crime in the communities, more possibilities for people to be hurt in their own communities. The ones you think you're helping, you're not. The truth is, a lot of times people are arrested for the wrong reason. Again, I myself. But a lot of times people are arrested for the right reason, more than people are arrested for the wrong reason. So, a lot of people that were arrested for the right reason will be turning around and walking out into the community where your loved ones are. This is what we gotta understand. This ain't gonna help us. In Chicago, in January 2023, along with this goes with this, they're gonna release a lot of people from jail. All in there still because they couldn't pay their bond. And the crime is not serious enough to keep them and charge the community money, because this is what the community cares about, how much they're being charged in their taxes when they don't even understand the tax system and the legalities of the things they're talking about at all. You got migrants being dropped off in Chicago by the busload, 100 at a time. Remember, this is a sanctuary city. This is a social experiment they're doing. They just dropped a bunch of people, and they continue to do it. Dropped them off around Chicago. People that got nowhere to go, that's going to be out in the streets with the other people that's out in the streets. This is a social experiment. Don't let them use you in social experiments, not even your energy. Understand this stuff. It's sad. This ties in directly with something else I saw, that a large community in Chicago, it's a well-known project community called O Block, was just purchased and now has a different owner. And guess what? Come January 2023, once again, the third thing happening for Chicago in January, they gotta find somewhere to be. Grand gentrification. All the rappers, all the people that come from there talk about how beautiful the hood is and everything like that. Oh, we gonna buy back the block and all that? Nah, you don't have enough money to do that. That's show money, what you show. So yeah, the people that want their land back came and got it. We gotta stop fighting this gang nonsense in these communities that you don't own. They will come and sweep the ground from beneath you. Where you gonna fight, in the air? Or we gonna beef over now, right? So what happens is you gotta think about like the stock market, you know? This is a value thing. And when things cycle down in value, they become they start to attract a lot of attention to those that like to invest and make money. When something gets down to a low value, you got a lot of people that's exactly what they've been waiting on. You got to think about what I'm saying. Stop bigging up communities you tearing up. Stop living at the bottom scale of living. Filth, bugs, just all kind of nastiness. And proud of it. And then they still came and took that from you. We got to do better. Now it's going to be a lot of people homeless again. More homeless, streets. It's a bigger play behind this. And I'm going to show you through a look at the past how now it's just repeating itself. This has happened before, many times. When a poisonous culture brings down the property value, they're going to come and get their stuff. Period. And one of the brothers mentioned earlier, very good point. He said if you go on any of the housing market sites, Zillow, whatever you go on, you go to any major city that I'm talking about, you go over to the dollar amount of the properties you want to look at and you put 0 to 100,000 and you watch what pops up and you watch the areas that it pops up in, because those are all the things that they got their eyes on like a hawk for prime time investment opportunity. And the people in them gonna have to find somewhere to go if they can't raise their value and be more valuable. So that's all I wanted to really touch on this one, because everybody was talking about this purge thing and didn't understand the laws, the reform, the argument behind cash bail, the cash bail system, and what both sides were saying. So it's kind of poison on both sides. But I believe that we should lean more on paying attention and due diligence for those that get arrested. Let's educate people so that if you are wrongly arrested, you immediately know how to handle that. Okay? That's all we really need to really focus on. If you're rightfully arrested, get yourself a lawyer and stop committing crimes. Education or lack of education is making people commit crimes. You know that. Alright? So, again, repeat listeners, thank you for coming back. First time listeners, welcome. Check out other episodes. They all pretty much, to me, they all related. None of them are different based on the name or the title. They're all related because it's all knowledge. So this has been another episode of My 3 Cents. And until next time, wholeness and gratitude.